Hey everybody, sorry for the weird open here and the obviously delayed start. Chris has run into some technical difficulties, and I swear to God, we always start at 12 p.m. sharp, but today we are running a little behind, so I appreciate your patience, and hopefully Chris will join when he can. All right, let's jump into it. Most people use Claude for one thing: write me an email, summarize this doc, fix my subject line. That's table stakes. And then we wonder why everyone else seems to be getting more out of it. So the gap isn't the model, it's the prompt. It's what you ask it to do. So today we're going to go past the basics. We're going to talk about 3 power moves you can run this afternoon. You can reverse engineer your ideal customer, your ICP, and rewrite your site for them. We can tear down a competitor. That sounds like really mean, but we mean find your positioning and kind of your inroad and opportunity to position yourself against their weaknesses. And we're going to build an assistant that knows your business, that you can train as you go, but begin to use immediately for a lot of the rote tasks that you otherwise would be doing yourself for your business or paying somebody else to do. Plus, if Chris gets here, he has something else that he wants to show us that he built in Claude Cowork that he's been using a ton this week to help build an audience. So this is a Shift AI show presented by Aweber, the most loved email marketing platform for small businesses. Check them out at aweber.com/start. Here we go. All right. So today, like I said, we're getting into some of the things that you can use Claude to do to go just leaps and bounds beyond some of the maybe basic stuff that we use it for. And one of the things I wanted to I was going to ask Chris about, so here we are, was just what's one of the silliest things that you asked Claude to do this week and what you learned from it. And it was funny. I actually had to sit there and think, what have I asked Claude to do this week that was probably me just being maybe Claude will know, or a serious underutilization of it. So maybe the silliest thing that I asked Claude this week was asking it today what the silliest thing that I asked it was this week. And it's funny. It actually came back and said, it's all been pretty serious focus work, but maybe the most, it didn't say naive. I forget how it framed it, but maybe the silliest thing or most aspirationally naive thing was I asked it to tell me what the most dominant colors used in paid ads were, because I wanted to find one that stood out against the sea. If paid ads are a sea of blue, I wanted to be the yellow ad in that. It basically laughed at me and told me that data is not available, and it was a wild goose chase. So fair warning, there are limitations to AI, as if we all didn't know that already. Oh, here we go. It looks like we've got Chris. Let me add you in here, Chris. How you doing?
Finally, you can start.
Yeah. People can stop listening to me go, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I'm just chatting by myself. So we're just jumping in. Actually, I haven't jumped into the demos yet, but the thing that I was going to ask you, and I was just answering my answer to it, the silliest thing that I've asked Claude all week was asking it this morning what the silliest thing that I had asked it was. Its response to that was basically, you asked me to find what the most dominant color in all paid ads in the world were. And that was a ridiculous question that I can never answer. It basically laughed at me. What about you? What's maybe the silliest, underutilization, or just oh my gosh, I can't believe I asked that?
Huh. Oh, you know what? Actually, not necessarily a silly one, but one I love to do periodically is I'll ask it, given what you know about me, how would you describe me? Ooh. That's kind of cool to see how your conversation with the model has turned into its understanding
through conversations about other topics and subjects. Yes. Interesting. Yeah. I haven't tried that one. Maybe I'll try that. I recommend everybody try that. Fair warning. If you're like me, you might not like what you learn.
Yeah, you gotta have a thick skin. No,
wait. What does it usually tell you?
No, it's always nice. It's very nice.
Yeah, I don't know. Claude was a little mean to me today. It said, Oh, no, it called it, here it is. It wasn't silly. It said not so much silly as charmingly ambitious. Nobody publishes a data set on colors used in paid ads. Charmingly ambitious. I'm putting that on my LinkedIn profile.
That's pretty good.
Oh, man, actually, I'm 100% putting that on there. All right. So we're going to jump in today. We've got really kind of 4 quick hit demos all around just expanded use of Claude beyond the basics. And seriously, these are things that you can do today to make your website, your positioning, your quality of life a little bit better. First, we're going to jump in. I'll jump in here on Claude. Let me pull the right window up. Okay.
I just realized, man, I missed the stinger.
You did miss the stinger.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
You're gonna have to go back and watch. That's your penance for being late. You know, everybody here knows what it was, but they're not going to tell you. They're not going to share it with you. You're going to have to wait at least an hour. No, I'm not gonna ruin it for you. It was a rework of an old one, but I think it's fun. Okay. So, great question, actually, right out of the gates. Is this free Claude or paid? Now, what I'm demoing on is paid, but the short demos that I'm running, and I can't speak to yours, Chris, are not limited by needing a paid plan. I will say there's a ton of benefits to it, and very quickly, I hope that you learn you get so much value out of Claude that it's worth the subscription. But you can use the ones that I'm going to cover today on a free plan. Okay, so first one we're going to do is we're going to do the website comparison, and we're going to ask it to analyze our website as well as 3 testimonials that I'm giving it. Restart movement. I cannot express enough that I'm in agreement. I'm glad Chris got on too. We're going to give it our website. In this case, it's actually Chris's side business, Dinky. It's a pickleball paddle company. And we're going to give it 3 testimonials, and we're going to ask it to analyze and identify our ideal customer. And then we'll ask it to rewrite the copy for our website so we can improve it a little bit more. So we're speaking to the right people. So we're speaking to the right pain points or needs, and hopefully just driving that conversion engine up a little bit higher point by point. So first of all, we're in Claude here, and this is the website that we're going to use. There's Chris. Say hi, Chris. And this is his pickleball paddle company. Great website, has plenty of information on it, but as with all websites, probably a little opportunity for improvement in terms of messaging or positioning. So I have a prompt pre-prepared here that I'm going to drop into Claude. First, I'm going to give it the testimonials that I've gathered. Now, you might have these testimonials from customers. You might have online reviews, any number of sources where you're gathering real customer feedback. Like if you sell a product, you provide a service. I hope that you have a feedback loop like that in place where you're learning from your buyers, your clients, your customers, what they think of your product. If not, we can talk about how to do that with AI too at some point. But it's just a critical piece of your business that you know where to improve and where to improve your messaging and your services and your offerings. So in this case, I'm assuming that we have some sort of feedback loop. I'm going to give the 3 testimonials, and then I have this prompt, and we'll share this prompt, shameless plug, in the supplementary email newsletter that goes out for the Shift AI show. So sign up at aweber.com/shift, and we'll make sure that by early next week, we've shared these prompts as well. But I want to give some people to sign up if they're not already on there. So I'm going to take this prompt as well. And it basically says, here's the homepage for Dinky Pickleball. And here are 3 customer testimonials above. Do 3 things. Build a detailed ICP, ideal customer profile or persona, based on the testimonials. Include demographics, psychographics, the before emotional state, the trigger moment that makes them buy, and the language they actually use to describe the win. Now, you could modify that maybe you're not selling a physical product, but you could modify that a little bit to be tailored to your service or offering. audit the current Dinky hero section. We're actually, just for the sake of this demo, we're just going to work on the hero, that like above the fold piece of the landing page. Tell me what it's doing well and where it's failing the ICP I just defined. Then rewrite the hero section, headline, subhead, and primary CTA so it speaks directly to this ICP. Use their actual words and emotional triggers. Give me 2 versions, one playful and one more confident performance, or 4 more confident performance. So we're going to let that run. And I'm going to try to do this in real time because I really want to show really the ease of use. Like, it's already coming back with what I've asked it for. Number 1, the profile. They're adult recreational players skewing 35 to 55, mix of genders, geographically spread across coastal and Sunbelt communities where pickleball culture is thick. There you go. Charleston, Scottsdale, the Jersey Shore. Got Jersey Shore right, Chris. It has psychographics. It's building this entire profile based on those 3 testimonials, as well as Chris's website, who he's already positioned it for. Gives me kind of the before emotional state. All 3 are experiencing some version of the same feeling. I'm here, I'm committed, but something doesn't feel right yet. The core tension is I'm serious about this, but my gear doesn't reflect that. Cool. It talks about the trigger moment when they knew that they wanted to purchase. And the language that they use to describe it. Now, it audited the hero. The current hero headline is Unleash Your Potential. At subhead, it says, at Dinky, we set out to create high-performance pickleball equipment that combines cutting-edge style with functionality, helping everyday players look and play their best while getting a little bit better every single day. And the CTA is who started Dinky, and it goes to the team page. So it gives me an entire analysis of what's working well, who it should be for, and then it's going to actually just go ahead. I didn't say, hey, change this headline to focus more on this thing, right? Like, I think that's the big unlock here, Chris, right? Is I'm not providing the insight of what to work on or what to change. I'm simply saying, learn who I'm for, learn what they care about when they, are emotionally pushed to purchase, and then just fix it.
Yeah, sometimes we do these live streams and we do demos like this, and I'm like, why didn't I actually do this for myself?
I know. Well, hey, feel free to steal, right?
Yeah, can you send me this artifact? I actually want to update. That is my pickleball paddle company site. I have like
this is real
paddles. Yeah. I should update that site.
Mine's somewhere back there that I got from you. So okay, so it's going to give us the versions, right?
Yeah.
Playful headline: the paddle people keep asking you about. Subhead: Dinky paddles are built in Wildwood, New Jersey by people who actually play. Real carbon face, real feel at the kitchen line, and designs that turn heads at every open play, starting at $69. And then the CTA is find your paddle. Confident performance one: you've put in the time, your paddle should show it. Dinky paddles are made for players who are done playing with whatever was on sale. T700 carbon face, 16mm control core, and designs that don't look like everyone else's, starting at $69. Shop paddles. So, I mean, look, you still need to bring the human element to this.
Yeah, because that second one is like,
it's a little brash, right? Or it's like, it's not your voice. And we're actually going to get to something in a minute that I think can like even refine that even further, like that, improve that output even further, understanding your voice. But just the takeaway here is like doing constant analysis. I mean, this is something you could do on a monthly basis as you gather new feedback and reviews, as the competitive landscape shifts, as more fitness coaches enter the fray, or as whatever, space or business you're in, you can constantly be refining. And this is not something where you need to sit there and stare at it blankly until you like have an aha moment. Like, this is an assistant analyst that can look at your customer, look at your content, and help you constantly iterate and improve on it.
Yeah. And Tracy has a question. Do you find you have to change things in the information sent back because it isn't correct?
I think it really comes down to like what you prompt it with. Like if you're in this case, if you're giving it the website, if that information is not correct, that's the source. I do not find that it hallucinates so much as AI used to early on, right? But you can also be explicit in your prompt. You can even tell it, double check your facts. Make sure that you're not hallucinating anything. Make sure that everything that all the information you're providing is verifiable from the source that I gave you. You can be really explicit in your prompt about ensuring accuracy. I think where it might not be like quote unquote correct is like what Chris was saying, where maybe it loses like brand voice or tone a little bit. Like the playful one to me sounds a little bit like Chris and his personality and Dinky's brand personality. The confident performance one, like this isn't Under Armour, like this isn't like, Nike or whatever with like kind of like the gritty, like everybody's out there grinding. Like that's not, like, I think your approach to pickleball and the brand is like, this is fun. This is enjoyable. We should have a good time. Right.
Yeah. And I think like it's never like a fun back and forth conversation when we completely agree with you. So, but I completely agree with what you're saying. But the thing I will say is, although I almost never get back information that isn't correct, I also almost never get back something that I don't edit in some way. Because like it's missing my voice, or maybe it's highlighting like the reference in the confident performance, it references T700 carbon face. Like nobody actually cares about that. It's like a spec about the paddle, but nobody that's buying it actually cares about it. But this is something we say all the time. Like if you give a somewhat vague prompt, and your prompt wasn't vague, but it was vague in that it was relying on the website to decide what was meaningful, you're going to get back more variance in your answer. So if I had been like specific in that prompt and had given some more information that like my customers care way more about the aesthetics than the specs, I probably would have gotten something better there. So I say that to say, Tracy, like expect that you're going to have to change the stuff that you get back, either conversationally by asking for updates or manually by just like changing the words.
And I would argue this, like my approach to almost any AI tool that I use is like, I want it to get me like 80-90% of the way there.
Yeah.
I'm always going to bring my own perspective to it. But if I don't have to start from scratch and I can go from 0 to 80 or 90 in seconds, I mean, how much more can I get done while still getting to that same outcome that maybe I would have worked through for an hour?
Yeah.
Like I've been lost writing hero copy on websites for hours before,
Yeah.
So again, this is, and I think that's like really our approach to a lot of AI stuff, or at least mine, I should say, is like, it's not removing the human element. Cause like also remember AI, one of the big slights against AI, whether it's copy or design or whatever it's creating, is that it only knows what it learned from. So it's like, it's almost like it's capable of like creating quote unquote new ideas from old ones, or like reshaping things to create a new idea, but it's not capable of like original thought in the sense of like, it can't make something that it never learned from. And so like, you always want to bring some, and that's, I guess you say this better, Chris, like it can't do taste. Right.
Yeah.
And so like, that's where the human is still so critical in it. And I certainly hope that we don't move in a direction where that's like removed from it. Cause I think that that's still the differentiator and what makes you and your product you. All right. That's demo number 1. So that's your ICP, your ideal customer persona or profile. Analyzing your feedback, whatever that feedback loop source is, and your website, and just making constant little iterations. Now, we did that with just the hero. You could also have it look at the entire page. You could say, rewrite all of the copy and content on my page and just see, where you want to go from there. We kept it a little bit more succinct on purpose. All right, demo number 2. I'm going to jump into a fresh Claude chat, and this time we're going to do a competitive teardown. Which sounds so aggressive. But what we're talking about here is, in this example, we've got 2 executive coaches. One of them is kind of starting out, and one is like the established executive coach. And our coach who is starting out, who we're going to call Lena, is trying to figure out where to differentiate her approach, services, pricing against kind of the established expert in her field. So I actually spun up, and throw back to our Lovable episode. I spun up live websites for both Lena and
dude, I love that you can just do that now,
and our established executive coach Marcus Reed. You can tell he's very serious. There's no laughing matter in executive coaching. But I mean, seriously, like think about this. Like for the sake of the demo last night, I was like, let's just make these real websites instead of like Google Docs that talk
Yeah,
about them.
that's awesome.
And here we are. Check out the Lovable episode if you'd like to learn more about creating web apps and websites in
Oh yeah, I'll
Lovable.
drop a link in the chat for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, so we've got our two coaches. For anybody who wants to see it, these are live and accessible. And I've got a prompt that I'm going to use here. Again, we will share these. I'm going to say copy it here first. Okay, so essentially I'm doing a competitive teardown of a coach in my space. Below is his website. Tear it down on 4 lenses. Positioning, who is he really for? What's his one-line claim? What emotional promises is he making? Pricing tiers. Offer structure, what he's selling beneath the service, and any gaps. Where is the positioning weak? Who is he not speaking to? And that's like going to come in really key too, because that's going to really help her figure out where an inroad or opportunity lies in an otherwise established market. Be specific, quote his actual copy where it matters. Don't be polite. This is for me, not him. I love that. I love that addition. But also to the question earlier,
Oh, wait,
like,
are you
quote his
showing
actual
this in
copy where.
Claude? Again, we're still seeing the.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't jump back over. My bad. So there's that prompt that I just like read through. And to that question earlier, it says quote his actual copy where it matters. So again, like we could be more explicit here of like, do not hallucinate, do not make anything up. Only rely on what you find on the website. And we're gonna let that go. So while that's running, I'm gonna jump over and grab. There's a follow up here. So we're gonna let that go. We're gonna notice it's referencing his actual audience that he's aimed at, the products or the courses that he offers. Where this comes in really valuable is going to be the next step. Like this is like our research step. Get to know him, understand everything that I need to know or that you need to know in order to then refine my products and services and offerings. So it's broken down his positioning. It's broken down his pricing tiers, which it's referencing the actual stuff from the website, what it's doing psychologically in those pricing tiers. It's breaking down his offer structure, what's actually being sold in this service. And I want to say, like, we used executive coaches here as an example. This could be, I am Bike Shop A in Havertown, and I really want to begin to carve out a better space for myself against Bike Shop B in Havertown. Like this is universally applicable. If you have a business and there are other people providing that product or service, this is useful, right? Like there are always ways of differentiating, finding inroads, finding gaps. So it also figures out who he's not speaking to, where his positioning maybe isn't as strong, where a competitor could wedge in. And so good. That's it. Like we don't even have to like break that down. This is the research step. And then we're going to give it another prompt. And again, these prompts I can share later in the email. So I'm not going to, share them here in chat. They're too long, whatever. But basically asking it, that's great. Now here's my brand context. I'm Lena Park. I'm the underdog coach in this space. Gives the website. Where can I undercut Marcus, outflank him, or differentiate? Give me 3 specific positioning angles I could own that Marcus can't credibly claim. For each angle, name the angle, explain why, write the homepage headline, and write the one-line subhead that backs it up. Don't suggest I copy his playbook. Show me where his playbook becomes my opening. So again, like where can I fill the gap and position against what he's doing? Again, we'll let it run. And I'm doing this in real time. I think like so often on this show, like Chris and I will kind of pre-bake some of these because some design tasks like take a little bit longer, but it really is incredible how fast it'll come back with this stuff. So right there, angle 1, the inside operator versus the outside advisor. You've led the actual work inside a startup. He hasn't. So the homepage headline becomes the coach who's actually been where you're standing. 14 years as an engineering director at 2 startups that I IPO'd, not a framework, a lived map. Angle 2, the first time leader market he explicitly excludes. His not a fit is your entire customer base. So he's the established coach, and he is there for minimum VP level and above. So, nobody coaches the first time leader. That's the whole point. The jump from great individual contributor to actual manager is the hardest leadership transition there is. Most coaches skip it. I live in it. So again, finding a space and an audience within the greater audience of people interested in executive coaching. It's helping her carve out, look, the people who are new to this space and who are maybe not pre-qualified to his services. Like, that's your sweet spot. That's your sub segment of people interested in your services. So again, all of these things, just like the first one with Chris, bring your own taste to, bring your own perspective to. But this is a really quick, easy way with 2 prompts. I mean, we gave it 2 prompts to really gain some valuable insight that will allow you to optimize your messaging, your positioning, your content, and even help you maybe shift the way you approach your services and who they're for. So again, that's demo 2. We'll be sharing those prompts. And Chris, why don't we dive into your Claude Cowork?
Yeah. So demo. I'm going to show you something made with Claude Cowork that really didn't need to be made with Claude Cowork. Claude Cowork is it's like a feature of Claude. So if you use ChatGPT, I saw somebody asking earlier if they needed to also get Claude. If you already have ChatGPT, you don't have to. Like, you could just do this with ChatGPT or through Claude normally. Initially, I was trying to do something different because what Claude Cowork is it is like a more of an agentic tool that can use stuff on your computer. So like, it could open a browser and use it. It could modify files and read from files. It's really useful for doing things like expense reporting. So it can look at a bunch of PDFs you have of invoices and put together an expense report. But you could do this just in regular Claude. So don't let that scare you. But so here's the setup. I wanted to share this because I've actually been using it. It's been super helpful for me. One of the things that I wanted to do to better promote Aweber and also to grow the shift is I'm like, I need to start getting involved in local marketing and technology meetups to go meet people in real life, in the real world, who are talking about these things that we're talking about. But I had always let myself get blocked on, well, I don't even know where to go. So, and then I would say that, and then I would just stop, which is dumb. So I went to Claude. And what was my initial prompt? I think it was something. I want you to search Google Meetup Luma, which is another meetup platform, to find me events and communities I can get involved in. My goal is to get involved in actual communities of people in my local area to better promote and grow Aweber and The Shift, our live stream about AI for small businesses. And then I went back and forth a couple of times, but the neat thing I wanted to show you is eventually, or at first what it did was it created me a markdown file, which is fine, but it was just like a static text file that was not super easy to read. And it created a calendar agenda that I could just use to add all these events to my calendar, which was awesome. So then it's on my Google Calendar, and I'll just be notified when events are coming up. But I wanted a better way to kind of explore these events. So I asked it to create me an HTML page, and it created it as this thing called an artifact, which both Claude and ChatGPT do, where it'll just create pages for you on the fly. Yeah. So now what I have,
it's like a local web page, right?
It just made an HTML code page on my computer that in this case, because I'm using Claude Cowork, but if you're just using Claude or ChatGPT, it'll just build it in the session or in the chat. But now I have this page that I can look at, and what it's done is it understands what I'm trying to do. So it called out the 4 rooms that matter most, and these are the 4 events that it was like, you should find a way to go to these. This is where you're going to meet the people who really meet your goals. And that's really cool. It gives me buttons right here. So that excuse of I don't know where to go, I don't know how to find the thing is gone. And if I don't do it now, it's just because I was either too lazy or unconfident or whatever it is to follow through. But the really cool thing is it built me out this actual calendar of all the events that it looked at that I could filter through. So if I just want to find like creator meetups, I can hit that and it'll show me what my options are. Um, yeah, I have these 2 Philadelphia area podcast meetups. I'm gonna go to at least one, and I think Jesse's gonna go
Yeah.
to, maybe the other one.
And think about this, like for a coach or a local business owner, like there's just so many nothing, I mean, we've talked about this, nothing beats being out in the world in terms of networking and growing ideas in
Yeah, for
business.
sure.
But like you said, it can be such a blocker to sit there and be like, okay, I've got to sort through mountains of junk to find useful things to go to. And like, not to hate on some of the like platforms that run these things, but there's so much noise on there. I was looking through some this week because we were talking
Yeah.
about this, and just sifting through these communities and meetups. This is incredible. I mean, this is like it's like a personal assistant put together your
Yeah,
itinerary.
and it breaks it out in really interesting ways for me, so it's like, here are a bunch of newsletters for me to sign up for. Like, I should just sign up for that so I get newsletters from these folks, and if there's something interesting that I can reply to start forming a
Yeah.
connection, do it that way. Some things that I can dig deeper into if I want to try and find some. And then the last thing well, conferences, that's really cool. But the last thing is it gives me this do these things now type of thing. So, because there's a lot of noise on this page of cool things I could do, but just this little block of
Right.
given all of this stuff, just do these things. Right? And so, like, maybe they're
Yeah.
not even the best things, but it gave me a checklist of just do these things. It's forward momentum, it's progress. And if I do them, I've done some of them, but not all of them. This is a good reminder. I'm just going to do the rest of them. It moves me forward. And you can do this yourself right now. Like, what is the community that you want to get involved in? Ask Claude or ask ChatGPT to look for events that that community is hosting, or where people from that community might be attending on Meetup, on Luma, and do a Google search for them, and have it build you a dashboard like this that you can use too for networking.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, and we've said it a lot, but like, understand and be able to define the outcome that you want. You don't need to worry about knowing how. So like going into this, I was about to say, like, and we can share Chris's prompt, and we can, but like it's unnecessary because like you can just go into Claude or ChatGPT if that's what you're using and say, like, here's what I'd like. Here's who I am. Here's what I'd like to have. Help me build it. Ask me what you need to know. Help me understand how we can get a live dashboard of upcoming, and it'll walk you through it. Like, you don't need to be like, first do this step 1, first do this, then do this step 2. Like, just describe what you want to get from it, and it's going to help iteratively walk you through getting there.
Yeah.
I think this is so awesome. And I know that this was not like laborious.
No, that was the awesome thing. Like, I found we've been building these really cool tools, like the sign up form builder that we've shown, and there's an email builder version of that, which is so awesome that we're getting ready to release. And I'm like, I want to do everything I can to show this to more people, to small businesses, really, people who don't have the time to learn these huge, complex systems, and honestly don't have a need for them. Like, that's what we built this stuff for, is so people don't have to know all sorts of technical stuff. They just need to know what they want and be able to express it, like type it, as opposed to having to drag and drop stuff. So it's like, I've got to get out there. But I bumped into that thing where I just always found an excuse, because it's outside of my comfort zone to go out to a big group of people and like talk about this thing that I'm proud of, but I just feel weird talking about it. So it was like, I need help, and I'm blocking myself. I'm going to go to Claude and see what it can do to unblock me. And it really helped. I'm committed to a couple events, so that's way better than I was before.
Yep. And just like before, and the analysis of the ideal customer or things like that, you weren't telling it what to do. You were telling it like the need that you had.
Yeah.
And it helped identify the solution. That's awesome. All right. 4th and final demo. We're going to jump back over to Claude. I'm actually going to pop up a fresh one. And this one is slightly different. So this is going to be something that you can build right now and you can start to use right now. But it's something that I would encourage you to continue to train and iterate and use on an ongoing basis. And we're going to create a small project that's essentially your business assistant. So in Claude in the sidebar, you can go to projects and you can click new project. And we're just going to name it for this. We're Bright Lane Coaching Assistant and create the project. So right away, it's going to ask you what it can do. And now you could prompt it, but it has no like training or learning or anything at this point. The most important thing is that you can do two things. You can provide instructions, so specific instructions about what you want it to be able to do, how you want it to approach certain tasks, anything like that. But you can also give it files like resources. So in this case, I have 4 files that I'm actually going to give it. They are a brand voice document, frequently asked questions document of questions that I in my business at Bright Lane Coaching get a lot. A document about my personas. So maybe this is some of the source material that you've already created when you're researching your ICP or your competitive positioning against other competitors. You're providing all of that source information to it. And honestly, with any AI and with a project like this, the more you give it, the better a result you're going to get. So while we're giving it some information at the front end, I would, this is the kind of thing where a project will learn from past conversations and get better, but you can also specifically update like the instructions or the files that you provide it so that it continues to get better with each use and provide you a better result. This is really it. I've given it those materials. And again, you're sitting there going, oh, I don't have a persona document. You can have that with those 2 prompts that we did earlier. I don't have an FAQ. Gather any kind of feedback you're getting, whether you're getting emails for customers or clients, or you're getting reviews, or you're getting testimonials, or you're getting anything. Gather that feedback to produce something like that, to identify what are the most frequently asked questions that I'm being given. And that's another Claude. Dump them all in there and say, help me analyze this and understand what the top themes are that my customers are asking. This Bright Lane recent emails, literally like recent email sends. And I will say this is something kind of cool because like we're doing this for other uses than just writing emails, but it's kind of similar to the approach of the newsletter assistant where it learns so much about your voice and your content and your style from your website and your past sends so that it can write as close to like your voice and your style and your content as we can get it. Right?
Projects are super useful for this because although like ChatGPT and Claude have memory, so they have an understanding of other ways they've interacted with you and like who you are, how you write, all that sort of stuff. But projects, the way Jesse is setting it up, is a way for you to like pointedly guide what's being generated by giving it examples like this. Like you are going to get more predictable generated content when you set up a project like this with examples than if you were just chatting in a chat, regardless of how much memory the app has about you. It's really cool. This is smart.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, in my work at Aweber, I have a copywriting assistant that I built that like it learns our voice, our style, our content, and it every use and every bit where I give it feedback and I say, actually, don't do this, don't do that. It learns that. I think I said it earlier on the show, like, you may be working with a human assistant and have to provide the same feedback 4 or 5 times for it to like stick. You don't have to with this. It learns from your feedback and gets better. Okay. So literally I named a project. I gave it 4 files. Now I will say, if you gave it some instructions, it's only going to be that much better. And I recommend doing that at some point. I'm not necessarily doing that for this case today. But that's right there in the settings too. And another like hack tip, the way I usually write the instructions is I'll go to Claude in a chat and say, hey, I'd like to write instructions for a custom project, for a Claude project that should do these things. Help me write an expansive prompt and ask me whatever you need to know. and it will walk you through it and give you that instruction prompt that you can paste in to the project instructions, rather than, again, sitting there and just trying to write it all yourself. But for this case, we gave it 4 files. I think that should be enough. And right away, we're going to put it to work. So we'll go ahead and I will ask it to draft a launch announcement email for Dana's new group program, the 90-day career pivot. It starts March 1st, some information about it, the cost, the persona, and make it feel like Dana wrote it at her kitchen table, not like a marketing email. So we'll let that run. And because it's working within this project, it's, oh, you know what, Chris, it's actually reading my copywriter skill because I'm in my Aweber account. Whoops. So it's going to come out with some other additional instructions, but it's also referencing the Bright Lane documents that I gave it, the brand voice, the FAQ, the persona, and boom, right there, it's already written me that launch announcement that I wanted. So again, you could have this do so many things. If you have data, if you have like sales data for your business, if you have, like I said earlier, feedback loops from your customers or clients, dump that information in here. You can set these so that you can set your account so that it doesn't like train other, like Claude on your personal data, so it keeps your data private. But you can dump all of that business data in there and get, have an assistant that can do business analysis. Like we showed earlier, you could use this trained assistant because it'll have better context to do some of the prompts that we did earlier, like identifying your ICP and doing a competitive teardown. You can use it to do business analysis, to do marketing, to write promotional content in your voice. I mean, there's really no limit. Anything that you would imagine using an assistant for, you can begin to train. And the whole benefit, like Chris said, of the project is that it has memory and context around, as well as the source that you provide it around what your business and what you're trying to do. And it just gets better with each use.
Yeah, I'm looking at like some of my projects. I have a project to
Pop over.
Well, I have a lot of mess on my screen, but I have a lot of, or I have a project to analyze our net promoter score responses. I have one to summarize people's web forms. So like if somebody shares code from a web form they're trying to build, a sign up form they're trying to build, I can paste it into the web form summarizer and it tells me what the form behavior is currently, so I can compare that to what the person is trying to do. I actually just used that the other day to help with a really cool multi-step like onboarding form somebody was building. Yeah.
On the Aweber side, we do a lot of live events, and our coworker Alicia helps with a ton of those, several per month. I have a project that analyzes the performance of those events and identifies topics that resonate. It analyzes the chat from all of those events, the attendance, the registration versus attendance, the what happens with people post event, like stuff that honestly I was never going to have time to sit and do on my own, or I'd have to outsource to another team member or resource. But to be able to just feed that information and have it, frankly, it's helped us understand like these kinds of events don't resonate as well, so much as, one with a specific topic and a specific outcome. We, on the internal Aweber events that we do for our customers and prospects, I tried one that was just like office hours. Hey, bring your questions, show up, wide open. And it was so underattended and so underengaged with. And we quickly learned, like, saying how to do this specific thing for this outcome mattered to people. And it helped us learn that quickly versus, not having that insight. So absolutely encourage playing with projects. And like with all of these things, like test the limit. This can do more than you think. And I think the biggest takeaway here is if you're underutilizing Claude, I hope that these 4 short demos help you at least think differently about what you could be using with Claude or ChatGPT or one of these LLMs.
Yeah.
All right. Anything you want to add, Chris?
No. Well, yeah. One thing I'll say, like when I was first learning and getting comfortable with conversational AI, like LLMs, the thing that helped me the most, actually, there are 2 things. The thing that helped me the most was definitely just defaulting to, I'm going to see if Claude or ChatGPT can help me here.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that would mean I had an idea about what I wanted done and I would go to the app and ask for it to do it. But other times it would be me asking, like, hey, this is a problem I'm having. Can you help me with it? And just asking that
Mm-hmm.
explicitly. And it would frequently come back with ideas that that might help me, that then I could explore further. So that was the first thing. The second thing that really helped me, I would say almost as much as that, like defaulting to asking the chat, is sharing what I was learning publicly and getting involved with other people who were sharing what they were learning publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, thankfully, Aweber has been really supportive in helping us understand this new space and technology, and they really encourage us to share what we're learning so we can learn from each other. But like Jesse is a great example of this. Like we're constantly sharing either things that went right and how we did it. Um, I'm trying to remember, something stuck out to me. Oh yeah, somebody was asking about a problem with a sign up form they were having, and
Mm-hmm.
a different person, actually a member of our customer solutions team, was trying to figure it out and just and couldn't quite figure it out. So I just went into the conversational builder and I asked it, like, hey, this is happening, why is it happening? And I was
Mm-hmm.
able to figure out and fix the issue. But the thing that makes us better is I took exactly what I did, screenshots of what I did, and I posted it in our internal Slack, so we can all learn and grow from each other. Like Jesse the other day, he was talking about ad units. He What he shared as a result of that was some really cool ad units that he designed based on his collaboration with, I guess it was ChatGPT.
Well, some research in Claude that it defined as charmingly ambitious, and then ChatGPT Images 2.0 to create some kind of rough concepts. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jesse's sharing that and sharing his process. And that's how, like, you just learn from seeing other people who are interested in this stuff try things and be willing to share both what worked and also what didn't work. Like when
Yeah.
things don't go wrong, to be in a community where folks are willing to say, hey, I'm trying to do this and I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And then seeing other people jumping in and helping, or being able to help yourself, like it forces you to explore in a way that leads to more growth, which is
Yeah.
why, like, I love doing the shift, because like Jesse did that ideal customer profile thing. I If you haven't shared that with me already, please do share it with me,
I
because
will.
I
I
I
will.
want to update my page as a result. And I hope you folks are learning from this too. I'd encourage you, if you've done something really cool, either with something that we've talked about or something that we haven't yet that you think we would benefit from knowing, just
Oh
like
my gosh,
share it with
especially,
us.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially anything that we haven't covered or tried. And my last takeaway or thought is it's just about curiosity. And I think you were kind of hitting on that. I was having a conversation this morning actually with an old manager of mine at a pastoral, um, and we were talking about AI and how he was kind of incorporating it and leading the charge at his agency of how they begin to use it um, to make their processes and their outcomes more effective. And it really came down to like curiosity. Like I think that this stuff moves so fast. You and I know that doing this show. I mean, we could go back to we're on episode 13 today. We could go back to any of the prior 12 episodes and revisit those and have a different outcome because everything is changing so
Yeah.
fast in terms of capabilities and outputs, right? And we've done that a little bit already. Like early on, we were talking about images 2.0 or chat GPT images is awful.
Yeah.
And then a few episodes later, we're doing ChatGPT Images 2.0.
It's
Boom, it's
awesome.
changed,
Yeah. Yeah.
We did the Canva AI is terrible. I'm really excited to try out AI 2.0 in Canva when that rolls out. Like it's just changing so fast. And the biggest thing that I would say is just being curious. Obviously, anybody's watching this, you're curious about AI and how to use it in your small business or your projects. But like be curious to try these tools. If you're underutilizing Claude, just push the limits. Like we call it like stress testing, right? But like when it's, testing a product, but like just see how far you can push it and what you can get out of it. And again, you don't have to know what you want. You just have to be able to describe the outcome or ask the right questions to get there. So being curious, like without that, we were talking about, approach at his organization. And it's like, if you don't have that, you will slip behind so fast. And hopefully we're helping mitigate some of that here. But I would just encourage you to go out and try stuff. And like Chris said, share with us what you're doing. Because we are not we do not have a monopoly on knowing what you can do with AI for small business. I would love to learn from everybody else here, things that y'all are doing as well.
I see a great question from Plant Sonics Official. Will we have a session on linking Claude with Aweber via MCP and using it effectively? I am so annoyed with myself because I was going to walk through that today, but then I was like, there's other stuff. How about we commit next week? We'll do that, and we'll show you how to use other MCP as well. We do this every Tuesday and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So come on back next week, and I think it'll be really fun. We can show you some fun, interesting things. We've updated our MCP recently. We've got some more changes coming that are going to make it even more useful and address some of the feature requests that folks have been having, specifically around workflows, the automations. But yeah, it'll be cool. I'm also going to drop a link to our docs into the chat here on using the MCP. I'm sure you've probably already looked at them, but the last thing is, if you need specific help on that, reach out to our CS team, and you can do that at aweber.com/users/help from your account. And just send a live chat or an email ticket. And if you want to mention that you were talking to me on the shift today, they'll probably forward it along to me so I can help you out too.
Yeah. All right. So we'll do that Tuesday at noon Eastern time. I swear to God, we normally start at noon. And we will be live on Tuesday right away. And we'll cover the MCP. I think it's a great idea. And how you can use that both in Claude and ChatGPT, and the things you can do with it, as well as the things that you're about to be able to do.
And we'll show you some other MCPs too, other than just Aweber, because you can do some really cool stuff. Gosh, yeah, there's this one called the Chrome DevTools MCP, which is a little bit more advanced. But what it lets you do is, using something like Claude Code, ask it to open a Chrome browser for you, essentially, and do things on the internet. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, like, we could probably do an entire show, every episode, just talking about a new MCP that's available and what you could do with it. So we'll definitely uncover at least some of the cool stuff happening there. Thank you all so much for being here and bringing the questions and the insights and making this fun and engaging. I hope you got value out of it, at least one of those 4 things, or I hope it triggered something that you go, aha, I can go do that today. Please share what you learn or what you produce as a result of it. Love having y'all here and doing this, and we will see you on Tuesday.
Tabby, I can't believe you saved that for the end. I need to know about this app that you just one-shotted.
as I'm trying to sign us off, drops that nugget of
that's so rad. Well, hopefully you come back on Tuesday or next Friday and talk to us about it. Seriously, I want to hear more about this cool thing that you did, how you did it. Like, did you build it in Claude Code? Did you build it in the Claude app somehow? Like, that's really cool.
Yeah,
I want to learn.
And one last shameless plug, because we really want to build this community, which is what we're trying to do here, is a community of small business owners and creators that are trying to learn how to use AI. Go to aweber.com/shift and sign up for the newsletter. You'll get a welcome email within minutes. You can reply to that email and let us know what you're doing, or why you're here, what you're excited about, or what you've produced. And we get those and we read those, and we'd love to hear. So it's a great way of kind of sharing post show as well. Thank you all so much for being here. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Drew is really good at making other people look really good.
Stunning.
And with the help of Aweber's marketing platform, he's built an entire audience on his ability to turn heads. So even though Drew's just a team of one, it never really feels that way.
That's a wrap, folks. Come on out.
Drew uses Aweber. It's how teams of one get more done.
Oh, thanks, Tim. Have sweet. You're the best, Tim.
With Aweber, it's like he has a whole staff helping him grow his audience and build professional-looking content.
And send. You got it. Great job, team.
From automated email campaigns
Oh, a course sign up. You get it from here?
to insight-packed reports.
How are we looking on new subscribers? Is that the day we launch the new course? Nice.
AWeber gives Drew the freedom to go forth
Hey.
and be Drew. AWeber. Time